Hi, welcome to Cloud Institution. Today we are going to discuss Azure Question and Answers Part 7. So let's move on to first question. Your company Azure subscription includes Azure Virtual Machine that runs Windows Server 2016. On the VMs is backup every day using Azure Backup Instant Restore. When the VM becomes infected, the data encryption ransomware you decide to recover VM's file. Which of the following is true in this scenario? Option A, you can only recover the files to the infected VM. Option B, you should recover the files to any VM within the company's subscription. Option C, you can only recover the files to a new VM. Option D, you will not able to recover the file. Find the correct answer. So the answer is you can recover the files to any VM within the company's subscription because Azure Backup Instant Restore allow you to recover files and folders from the recovery point without restoring the entire VM. You can recover files to any VM within the Azure subscription, not just infected one. This flexibility helps restore files to clean VM and avoiding reinfecting the comprised machine. So let's move on to second question. Your company Azure subscription includes Azure Virtual Machine that runs Windows Server 2016. One of the VM is backup every day using Azure Backup Instance Code. When the VM becomes infected, the data encryption ransomware, you are required to restore the VM, which is the following action you should take. Option A, you should restore the VM after deleting the infected VM. Option B, you should restore the VM to any VM within the company's subscription. Option C, you should restore the VM to any new Azure VM. Option D, you should restore the VM to an on-premises Windows server. Find the correct answer. So the correct answer is option C, you should restore the VM to a new Azure VM. Because when a VM is infected, the data encryption ransomware, the best practice is to restore into a clean environment rather than risk infections. Azure Backup allows for full VM restorations, and the safest approach is to deploy it on a new VM instead of restoring over the instant infected one. So let's move on to third question. Your administrator solution is the Azure that is currently having performance issues. You need to find cause of performance issuing pertaining to a metrics of Azure infrastructure. Which of the following is the tool you should use? Option A, Azure Traffic Analytics. Option B, Azure Monitor. Option C, Azure Activity Log. And option D, Azure Advisor. Find the correct answer. So the correct answer is option C, Azure Activity Log. Azure Activity Log is the best tool to diagnose performance issues because it collects, analyzes, and visualizes metrics and logs across Azure infrastructure, application, and services. It provides real-time performance monitoring and alert based on defined thresholds. So let's move on to fourth question. Your company has an Azure subscription that includes a recovery service vault. You want to use Azure Backup to schedule a backup of your company's virtual machine on the recovery service vault. Which of the following VM can you backup? Choose all that apply. Option A, VM that run Windows 10. Option B, VM that run Windows Server 2012 on higher. Option C, VMs that have not been shut down. Option D, VM that run Debian 8.2 plus. Option E, VM that have been shut down. Find the correct answer. So the correct answer is option A, B, D. Because when a VM is infected with a data encryption, sorry, because Azure Backup supports backing of both Windows and Linux VM as long as they are running support versions. Windows 10 and Windows Server 2012 are supported for backup. Debian 8.2 Plus is supported Linux distribution for Azure Backup. So let's move on to fifth question. The question is a part of series of questions that present the same scenario. Each question in the series contains a unique solution that meets the started goal. Some question sets might have more than one correct solution, which other might not have correct solution. After you answer a question in the section, you will not be able to run to it. As a result, these questions will not appear in this view screen. You have an Azure Activity Directory tenant named contoso.com. You have CSV file that contains the name and email address of 500 external users. You need to create a guest user account to contoso.com for each of the 500 external users. Solution. You create a PowerShell script that runs the new Azure AD user CMlet for each users. Does this meet the goal? Option A, yes. Option B, no. Find the correct answer. So the correct answer is no, because the new Azure AD user CMlet is used to create regular user in Azure AD, not guest users. For guest users, you should use Azure AD invitation instead. This CMDlet sends an invitation to external users and create guest account in Azure AD.